so forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. So I come, Lord, I come, I come, Lord, I come to tell you I love you, to tell you I need you, to tell you there's no better place for me than in your arms, to tell you I'm sorry for running in circles, for placing my focus on the waves, not on your face. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. I'm so forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. So I come, Lord, I come, I come, Lord, I come to tell you I love you, to tell you I need you, to tell you there's no better place for me than in your arms, to tell you I'm sorry for running in circles, for placing my focus on the waves, not on your face. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace in the storm. In the storm. I'm so forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Glad to be with you this morning. I love that song. It's been an exciting morning this morning. I woke up and I come downstairs and look at my notes and I go, they're in the wrong order. It's funny how the Spirit reveals stuff to you sometimes. And then sometimes it's not the Spirit. I mean, or then I'm thinking, oh, I should say this. And then I thought where I would go with it. And I said, nope, I'll be in trouble. So it's awesome that you're with me this morning. I see Chris Connolly has joined us. And do we have anybody else? Oh, Bert Reggiani. Nice to see you, Bert. Yeah, even my own post came back because a Facebook user had to fix that. Ken Gooch, good morning. I think that might be everybody. Chris, Bert, and Ken. Welcome. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we're doing this today. You never know what verse you're going to get until you look at the schedule. They got a nice, long, drawn-out schedule. So if any of you guys want to do this for me, feel free. Oh, Pastor G, good morning. And Aaron, nice to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. Glad you joined me. Today's verse is from 1 Peter 3 through 4. It's really short. And pull it up on the screen. And we can... And Steve Skopek. Good morning, Steve Skopek. That's wow, he's popping up like crazy. This is a lot of pressure now. It's better when it's like two guys. That way I don't feel like I'm the whole world's going to know I screwed up. Today's verse. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold, jewelry, or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Those are beautiful words. But how many times have churches misused this verse? Today's culture is kind of weird. It's a totally different thing in this world of Instagram and Facebook and whatever book and whatever gram. There's always this pressure for women to look a certain way, be a certain way. This culture loves to judge women on their appearance and rarely looks inside. I mean, how many people do we know that are famous because they are good looking and that is it? I can think of the Kardashian sisters who don't bring much to the table other than appearance, or the rich Nicole Richie and her friend, what's that, Paris Hilton. I mean, I look at these girls and I think, okay, they're nice. They're nice and pretty, but what else is there? I don't know if you guys have had the same experience as I have, but as a young man at dating, I remember it wasn't always the prettiest girl that I dated. It was sometimes the nicest girl that I dated that seemed to hold my heart the longest. In Hebrews, nope, that's wrong. In Proverbs, it says, when it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. The funny thing about this verse is it doesn't say that these things are bad. It doesn't say these things are wrong. It's what it says is we should not see them first. We should not judge a person by just those things. Their inner beauty is far more important to God. In Proverbs, though, it says just the opposite, right? It says she makes her coverings for her head. She's clothed in fine linen and purple. How many people have seen women in church or churches themselves that have told women, don't wear fancy jewelry, don't wear nice hairdos, don't wear nice clothing, because that's not, it doesn't say that. It never says that. And yet churches have built theology around that. I mean, they're literally have put their women in a corner and dressed them down. And I found another verse in Isaiah. He hath clothed me with the garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of his righteousness. As a bridegroom adorns his head like a priest, and the bride adorns herself with jewelry. That's from Isaiah 61:10. There's so many examples in the Bible of women, and yet we like to put them in little boxes. And, this is the way they should be. Thank God today I didn't have the verse where they're supposed to sit down and shut up in the back of the church. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is outward beauty isn't a negative thing. It isn't a bad thing. Dressing nice and wearing jewelry isn't a bad thing. It's not. We are all. How do I say it? We all go through this thing where we are hard on ourselves. The enemy likes to whisper in our ears, "Oh, you don't want to do that. That would make you really bad." I figured, well, let me look up a few women in the Bible and see if they were like that. And first one I came across was Ruth. She was a young widow. She had lost her husband, and her mother-in-law had lost her husband, and her and the two daughter-in-laws were basically going to be homeless. Ruth decided to stay with her mother-in-law, Naomi, love her and take care of her and make sure she was okay. Promised her she would stay with her. This brought the attention of Boaz, who fell in love with a woman. She was younger, probably pretty, doesn't say, but he saw something in her heart, not in her face. Her heart is what won him over, and I thought that was so important. But then in Deborah, in the book of Judges, they had judges. Deborah was the fourth judge and the only female judge, which was really uncommon in that era. I mean, women weren't necessarily valued for their opinion. She was a prophet, and she was able to lead, plan, and delegate, and missions and responsibilities. Powerful. Sounds like a woman with super strong beliefs and faith, and doesn't mention anything about her, how she looks. Isn't that curious? And then there was Miriam. Very minimal character in the Bible, just a small bit part, but her role was so important in God's plan. Miriam was the sister of Moses, who, after Moses was put in the reeds to protect him from Pharaoh's plans, Miriam made sure that the daughter of Pharaoh found him. Miriam made sure that she had a he-room and to nurse the baby. Little things. It doesn't necessarily. Our role doesn't always have to be grand and grandiose. And then there's Esther. I love Esther because it's such a story of it's almost like a mystery. She's a little deceptive, but she's smart and she's beautiful. This is a woman who showed courage in planning. I mean, there's no doubt she was able to. She became queen under King Xerxes, whose wife was beautiful, the queen, but she was difficult and disrespectful. Didn't know her position in the church and the family, not in the church, but in the kingdom, and ended up being replaced because of her personality, attitude, whatever you want to call it, and Esther put all that on the line to save her people from evil plans of Haman. She risked everything. She was living a comfortable life and would have been fine, but she was willing to put that in danger by planning to reveal Haman's plans to the king. I can't help but think those are the kind of women that God finds beautiful. I got one more for you. This one's more modern day, not in the Bible. A young Albanian girl at the age of 18 left her home and joined the monastery, became a nun. I have a picture of her. And I want to share that because I think it's telling. This young girl at age 18, when she joined the monastery, she joined whatever, I don't know what the exact name for it is, but she became famous. But if you can see this, she's just looks like a young girl. She just not a model by any means or stretch. And people that know her today know that she was never known for her beauty. Let me just get back off that. I just wanted to show you a picture because God doesn't always see the inners and the outers. I mean, the outers, to him, it's what really doesn't really matter. But she became, after becoming a nun, she became teaching in India. And seeing the pain and the suffering all around her, soon started working with the poor, opened up a convent in Calcutta, where the most desperate conditions were, that dealt strictly with poor and sick people, and ended up treating people, lepers and other horrible diseases that were killing people at that time. Today, she's gone. She's with Jesus now. But she did this. She left home at 18, never looked back, never saw her family again, and lived till she was 87. She died doing her life's work at 87 in India. Today, we know her as Mother Teresa. How do you look at a woman like that and you think, everybody's seen pictures of Mother Teresa in her older age, and she was a hard-looking woman. She was tired, but God only saw the most beautiful things, as I could figure. And then, how do we resolve that in our hearts, knowing what we know about today's culture and how people live and how people look? And then we see a woman that looks outwardly frail, old, tired, not necessarily good looking, yet her heart is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. I pray that this message was a blessing to you today. I pray I didn't disrespect anybody's feelings or visions of gender. Women are amazing. They feed our families. They love us when we're unlovable, kind of like God. And sometimes we take them for granted. I pray this was a blessing to you. Anybody else come on after I left? I see Pastor G said, amen. God looks at the heart. Yes, he does. And I think that's all he looks at, to be honest with you. I think, anyway, I'll leave it at that. Have a firmly rooted day, gentlemen. I pray that we took something out of this today. And may someone see Jesus in you today.